Thank you very much. I don't know about y'all, but I've learned a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm going to buy my hot water heater blanket before I get home. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that, Simon. We're going to go to the 3 R's now: replacing, refurbishing, and retrofitting. And Mr. Simon will be our moderator for this session. Thank you.
Well, good morning again. I'm changing roles a bit. I'm not going to be a panelist. I'll be your moderator for this panel. Again, my name is Simon Mahan. I'm a Renewable Energy Manager for the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy. For this panel, we have Kayla Miles. She is the Public Information Specialist at Lafayette Utility System. We also have Robert Mitchell. Robert Mitchell is an energy auditor for Slimco. He develops Slimco's energy efficient home construction program, Design 1. He performs energy audits on residential, commercial, industrial, and farm and agricultural customers. He provides information to Slimco customers regarding power use, HVAC units, water heaters, remodeling, and any topic regarding energy efficiency. And then finally, we'll wrap up with Gretchen Lacombe-Vanacore. She is the University of Louisiana at Lafayette's first Director of Sustainability and the campus spokesperson on sustainability issues. She's worked with the Chase Design Group and G. Matthew David, CPL and Associates. Vanacore was project manager for the award-winning Thank you. Not from Solar Home in the Department of Energy Solar Decathlon a few years back. And with that, Kayla, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We touched on some really good information this morning that I wanted to quickly recap in regards to LUS and programs that we offer Lafayette residents. So first thing that Jermaine mentioned in the intro was our rain barrel program that has been very successful with our water conservation efforts. But on the electric side, we have a couple more programs. One, Andrew touched on briefly, which is our home energy audits. Those are free services for our residents. So we have our utilities conservation specialist, full-time, to go into your home and assess your home and customize tips on ways that you can make improvements that'll lower your energy bill. So that's one way on the energy side. The second, Beth Chasson touched on, which is our kilowatt meter program. Those can be checked out free at the library, like she mentioned, but one important point to the kilowatt meters is that it measures phantom loads. And what a phantom load is how much energy your appliance is using when you're not using it. So when you plug in, say, your toaster or your coffee maker or any other appliance into it, it'll measure how many, how much electricity, how much it's pulling, and you're paying for, even when you're not using it. And so that'll kind of give you a clue as to, every time I'm done with the toaster, I'm gonna unplug it, because I don't want however much money going out the door. And so that's another key to our kilowatt meter. So that was just a side note. And then 3, Simon actually touched on for just a second at the very end of his presentation, which was the Nest smart thermostat meters. So LUS is going to be rolling out a program soon, hopefully late summer when it's really needed, which is a Nest smart thermostat program. So we are going to start offering LUS customers highly discounted Nest thermostats so that you can really take advantage of a smart learning thermostat and lower your energy usage and costs. Now the 4th thing that I'll touch on in just a second, which is our big, the reason I'm here to kind of showcase for you, is our consumer engagement portal, what we like to call My LUS Account. And it's an online tool available to all LUS customers where you can access all of your account information, your usage, your bill, the history of your usage and bills, and tips on how to lower your costs. So first, before we go into that, I'm going to highlight your bill that you get in the mail or that you see online and kind of make sure you understand that, and then we'll go into the portal. Okay, so at the top of your bill, very straightforward. You'll have your customer name and your account number. Those are the two things that you need to be able to register your account online to access the consumer engagement portal. So use your bill, use that information exactly as it's shown, and then you'll be able to register. The billing date, just so you know, right under the account number, that's the date the bill was produced by LUS, and then we typically mail it out to you the next day. So that's what that date is. And then of course you have your account summary. So previous balance, how much has been paid since that balance, your unpaid balance, which in this case I think it shows a credit, and then current charges and amount due. So that's the first part. And then the middle section goes over your electric usage. So you'll see this little graph on your bill, and the graph shows the electric usage over a 13-month period, and it's just there so you can kind of compare your usage. So you can see the peak months that you're using more electricity versus others. The only time that graph won't show this is if you use our program called Budget Bill, which is where we help you keep budget the same electric bill for the whole year, you know, kind of average it out so that there's not these months where it's really high and then months really low. You can do more to help your budget and plan ahead. Also on this section, you'll see your meter information. And that information is just to show you when the previous month your meter was read, the current month when it was read, and it shows you how we calculate how much electricity you're using. So we just subtract from the previous reading, the current reading, and that calculation is the first line, and it shows you the amount of electricity consumed. The second line, so the actual, where it's not the kilowatt hour, it's the kilowatt, that's known as demand. So that's how much electricity your home or your business is using at any given time. So that's how much we need on a regular basis for you. And then the last part of the bill is just the end. Everyone knows this part best. It's how much you owe and when you need to pay it by, and how much you owe if you don't pay it by that date. So it shows amount if paid by, and then it'll always be $5 less than the second amount, which is the late fee. And then I'd like to direct your attention all the way to the right. The right? Yeah. For the Share the Light emblem. You'll see on there a little box, and it says add $1 to Share the Light. And Jermaine mentioned it quickly. Share the Light is an assistance program that LUS has to help any of our customers that come into hardship, usually unexpected, and they have a difficulty paying their utility bill. It can't be an ongoing issue. It's really usually something that when life happens and no one expected it. And so we ask everyone to help your neighbors, your friends, people in your community in those times of need. And so by adding $1 to your bill, that will go to helping those people. So if you want to know more information about that, we have stuff out in the hallway and we can discuss it further. Okay. Now to the fun part. So let's see if I can do this right. We're going to go straight to our website. And then I will literally log into my account and y'all can see all my information. So this is our new LUS website. It looks a little bit different than it's been for years and years. And it's to accommodate all this new information that we have for the My LUS account. So you can get to it a couple different ways. There's the view or pay your bill up top. There's also knowledge is power. You can click on any of these things and it will take you to log in.
Was that Rodemaker? The coal power?
I don't,
like
I was gonna say, I don't know if that's.
I think it's Boolean.
Hold on, look,
I'll forget it.
I'll
I guess I'll still use it.
I am not charging my.
Microsoft power plant.
No, it looks like a gas plant.
Yeah, it's a gas. That's one of the CTs that needs to,
Mhm.
on hard to say bear, Lafayette is what they call it.
We have that one?
Okay. We good? You like the picture? Good. Okay, so welcome to LUS My Account. I've already registered my account, so I'm just gonna log in. But if you haven't yet, like I said, use your utility bill and use your name and your account number exactly as it's shown. So I've already got.
Caleb asked if you've been receiving your utility bill electronically, so you don't have a paper copy.
You can, that information is the exact same. Like you literally see an electronic version of the paper bill. Yeah. Hold on, I don't know where I was. Sorry, guys. Okay. So this will take you to just your accounts. Some people have multiple accounts, so they'll list them all, and you can choose which one you want to access. For our purposes, I recently moved, so you'll see a lot of doubling of information because I just recently moved, so there's 2 accounts listed to my name. As you can see. Y'all can come visit anytime. Okay, so now we're in it. Now, there's 2 main sections to the LUS My Account. There's the My Bill and there's the My Home. Now, My Bill will have a lot of straightforward stuff with the account summary. The account summary will basically take you to view your exact bill. It'll let you see your payment history. And as you can see, I owe a balance. Look, like I need to pay my bill, current balance. And I can pay. This is where you pay your bill online now. There's every place on our website where you go to pay your bill, it's gonna direct you to this site and this is where you pay now. So if you pay online, you're gonna have to register. Right underneath that is bill highlights. Now, because I just moved, it's not gonna be able to accurately compare my current bill with my last month's bill, but what normally is there is arrows. It'll show me an arrow up. Your electric usage went up and it cost you this much more this month. Or an arrow down, your water usage went down and you saved this much more a month. And it's really helpful. I used it before I moved and it helped me realize, wow, I'm using a lot more water than I should be. And it actually helped me identify that we had a water leak. So, and that's just a highlight. I mean, if I drilled around a little bit and got deeper in it, I would have found it, but it was right there on the front page. So that was really nice. On the right side is my usage profile. So when you first register your account online, you will be prompted to answer a questionnaire about your home, the square footage, the number of rooms, the type of cooling and heating you have, if you have a pool or not, a lot of different things. By all means, you are not required to answer any of those things. You can skip that entire part, but I encourage you to fill it out. Take the time, fill out your home profile, because as much information as you put in, it will be able to customize that information that you're gonna get back. So I put in information about my new home, and just based on this last bill, my first bill, it's showing me a breakdown under my usage profile of where my money's going. And as I can see, I use a lot of hot water. And I'll have to talk to my husband about that. But it's good, you know, for me to look at it and decide if there are ways that I can cut some of these major areas. Under that is bill history. Again, because I moved, it won't show, but if you log in and you've lived in your home for a year, it'll show from last year at the same month to this year. So it's really nice for you to look at and be able to say, okay, it's about the same. You know, it's May, so spring's over, summer's here, it's getting hotter, my usage is going up, and it's typical. Now, if it's double what you normally use, that's a red flag. That'll help you realize something's going on. We need to, you know, analyze, you know, the information.
Okay. You got that, too.
Okay, thanks. Oh, you're sorry. And then the last part on this is home comparison. I like this because it takes the information I put in the system and compares it to all of the other people with similar homes in my area and tells me where I rank. And so right now I'm doing pretty good. I'm below average. So that's a good place to be. Before I moved, I was all the way in the red. So,
So that comparison would have to be made on energy consumption? Because they don't have anything else to compare, right, unless you put in all the square footage?
Exactly. But no, they do water consumption as well, but yes.
Consumption-driven comparisons?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then the second portion is actually going to be pretty quick. It's my home. And the main part that I want to just highlight for you guys is the ways to save. This first part, you decide how much you want to save. If you want to save 1% a year, if you want to save 30, it's up to you. And it shows you what the average dollar will be, and then you decide when you want to start saving. When you click on that, the power is in your hands. You can decide if you want to do one simple step and just do one thing at a time. You don't want to overcommit yourself. You want to just maybe change one thing like weather stripping or caulking. That's great. It'll tell you how to do that. It'll tell you how much it costs, and it'll tell you the average return you'll get for it. Or are you a weekend warrior? Do you like to stay home on the weekend and do home projects or garden or do other things, around the house? If that's you, they're going to, customize tips and energy saving ideas just for you. Again, with Family Saver, if you want to teach your kids to be involved, if you want to do it as a team, as a family, that's the route to go. Or Earth Saver. If you're just here trying to make the smallest impact as possible, it'll drive those tips for you as well. So from there you choose, and again, all this information, as much as you put in, it's all of the tips of your fingers, and all the information is there for you. So I encourage y'all to use it, and if you have any questions, let me know later. Thank you. Nope, it wasn't. I'm sorry. Okay.
Our next speaker is Robert Mitchell, and Robert actually brought some hands-on stuff so you can actually see things. So I'm going to be playing Man or White role and moving around.
Thank you all for having me. I'm with Slimco, and I do our energy audits for Slimco. We have a new energy efficient home program called Design One, so we have information for that on our website, or there's a lot of information I brought out front. But I just want to basically go over, like we've shown before, where the electricity bill goes, and half of it's going to go to heating and cooling. You can see 50%, and the rest goes to appliances and water heating, etc. So if you're going to get somebody to say, you can save 30% on your utility bill by changing out your windows. You got to remember it's not affecting this part of the bill. It's going to be affecting the heating and cooling system. So they're going to actually say 30% or 50%. So it's going to remind yourself when you're doing these calculations. But this can give you a brief explanation. And I do have a chart out front show you this thing right here. The next thing I want to talk about is household energy cost. And basically, I brought this page. It's out front. And I'm give you an idea about light bulbs. They don't make these anymore. There's a 100-watt light bulb incandescent. They've outlawed these, but just to give you a comparison, if you left 100 watts on for 10 hours, it's going to use 1,000 watts, and that's how all utilities gauge how much they're going to charge for electricity. So 1,000 watts is 8 cents. So if you're going to go ahead and use the other bulb, right here, sorry. This is going to be the CFL. This CFL uses 23 watts. So this thing can actually run for 44 hours before it uses 8 cents.
Can I pass this right?
Sure. And then this is going to be the LED. The LED is 9 watts, and you can run 110 hours before it uses 8 cents. So it gives you a big comparison of what these things use. So I'll talk about ceiling fans in a second, but here's some common energy costs to have out front if you want to look at what things use for like, for a kilowatt hour. The next thing I want to talk about is this information I have right here. I've basically brought like 10 steps to help control your energy cost that's out front, but due to time, we'll go ahead and consolidate it down to like a bucket list. And so the first thing I'd like to talk about is this programmable thermostat. This is where you're going to see a lot of savings. I know that LUS is going to introduce the Nest thermostat, which is like similar to this, but if you can program your unit to basically be off while you're going to work, you're not using energy. So for instance, let's say a 4-ton air conditioner draws 40 cents an hour, and you can keep it from going on for 3 hours while you're at work. You're saving $1.20 a day times, let's say 20 days in a month that are work days. That's $24 you can save. So if you both work, it's feasible to go out and install one of these programmable thermostats to save energy. The next biggest thing is your ductwork. As I do energy audits, I go into a house and I can see that the ductwork is very leaky. DOE's done a study and they basically said that ductwork is upwards to 20 to 30% leakage. So a simple thing you can do, and I brought up a piece of information to show you how to tighten up your ductwork. It's out front, and this is this brochure right here, and it shows you what to do to tighten up your ductwork. It's out front. But basically, there's a square box up in your attic. It's called a plenum, and these things are collars that basically attach itself to it. So when I go to an audit, you can see that there's little holes right here, and they didn't seal it. And so basically what you want to do is you get a material that's called mastic, and you can buy that in any type of, let's say, Colburn's or maybe even Lowe's or places like that.
I won't pass this around.
It is it's paintable. You can paint it on, and it dries to a hard, like a hard texture. And basically, that's going to help seal that part of it. Now, the inner lining of this ductwork is be sealed with a product that is not duct tape, but it's called masking tape. And it's specific to ductwork, and it's pressure sensitive. So what you would do is there's an inner lining on this ductwork that you would take that lining off and basically put it back on and tape it with mastic tape, and then basically put another tie wrap over that. So this brochure that I have out front shows you how to do that part. Another thing about ductwork is that it's basically you want to be able to, you can use a thing called a duct saddle, and this basically there's a picture out front that shows you that the ductwork could be sit in these duct saddles to elevate it off the attic floor, or we can use strapping, and it's got to be a 3-inch strap. So this is what the air conditioning contractor use to basically strap the ductwork off the attic floor and keep it going from point A to point B in a straight line.
Do you hang with that? Can you hang with that?
You can hang it off the joist.
Okay.
So that's part of that part. So sealing up your ductwork can be a big improvement as far as making the air conditioner run less. Another thing is attic insulation, and attic insulation is I brought here just to give you an idea of R values. 6 inches is what a joist is up in your attic. That's the wood member that your ceiling is attached to. So if it's below that, you can see wood, you need more insulation. So we're going to recommend you put additional R19, and that's going to be about 7.5 inches. And typically they use a product, either fiberglass, rock wool, or cellulose. And it runs around 60 cents for R19. So you get your contractor to go out there and blow it and spread it out across the attic floor. And that makes a big difference, because a lot of times when I go to these attics, there's hardly any insulation in the attic. So, and if it's really, really bad, you can add up upwards to 11 inches. So we recommend trying to bring it up to R30, possibly R38, to make your attic more efficient. Another thing that helps improve homes is solar screens, and a solar screen attaches to the full length of the window. So if you had a 3060 window or a 2040, whatever the size of it is, there's a screen company in town that does this, and there's one in Breaux Bridge. And basically it's around $3 to $4 a square foot to put it on the window. But if you have any east or west windows and the sunlight's penetrating the glass, this would definitely make a big improvement on your making the air conditioner run less. So again, solar screens are very effective. We talked about the CFL and LED light bulbs. Those are good. Another thing I want to talk about is the advanced power strips. This is just a regular power strip that we plug our appliances into. Advanced power strips prevent electronics from drawing power when they're not used, or like that phantom power we were talking about. So if you want to help on your, that part of it, purchase an advanced power strip. And again, there's information out front about the power strips. It tells you a little bit more about that. Another thing I want to talk about is caulking and foam sealing. There's different products that we can use, and one of them is this. If you can put your finger in the hole, you use foam. If you can't put your finger in the hole, you use caulking. And make sure that the caulking is at least 25 years or higher on the durability of it. And then there's different types of foam you can put. One's non-expanding, one's expanding. So I would try to go with the non-expanding so it doesn't bind it too heavy. But if you ever look underneath your sink, there's going to be some pipes that go out to the outside wall. That's infiltration right there. So and it's going to keep out the bugs and whatever. So look at your sink and basically try to use this product to seal it up. you can go around your windows and doors and see if there's cracks, and you can use this caulking to try to do that part. And that helps out. The other thing I want to talk about is ceiling fans. People think that ceiling fans are, when you leave the house, it's cooling off your house. A ceiling fan only benefits when you're underneath it. So a lot of people leave their ceiling fans on all day long, and they're not at home, and they're just thinking it's cooling off the house. Ceiling fans don't cool off houses, they cool off people. And that's a big misconception. If you left the ceiling fan on 24/7, it costs $10 a month. So I've had customers leave them on, 5 of them, all the time, thinking they're cooling off the house. But when you're underneath it, it makes a big difference because we feel it. But just remember, when you're not there, turn it off. And we've already touched base on Energy Star appliances. You're going to go ahead and try to replace something. Try to think about the Energy Star label. And again,
I got a question.
yes, sir.
About the ceiling fans, can you use these kind of light bulbs and ceiling fans?
Yeah, you can use those for ceiling fans. That's an instant on, by the way, but you have some that are dimmable. If a ceiling fan is dimmable, you cannot use that one. It has to say dimmable for that part. And, yeah, but look for that, except for dimmable. But also, this chart I have out front that we indicated shows the colors. And like you said, we go out and purchase these type of CFL bulbs, they're going to have the K value. So look at the K value. The K value that's higher, like 65, is going to be the bluer types, and then the lower ones can be like the 37s or the yellow. So if you go out and buy a bunch of them, try to make sure you pick out the same color for the type of room. And that's pretty much this. The last thing I want to talk about is thermostat settings, and basically, you know, we try to recommend 78 degrees as a summertime setting and 68 for the winter, but just going to remind yourself, if the lower you're going to keep that thermostat closer to 74, you're going to increase your energy cost. So if you're not going to be using that house for any particular time, try to set it back up to 78 when you're not using it or higher. And the last thing I also want to talk about is, just got to remember, homes don't use energy, people use energy. And how many people left the sink on when you left today? We always think about electricity and water at the same time. And when my daughter was at the house, I made the point where she was always leaving things off when I got home, everything was on. So one day I just left the sink on. She said, "Dad, the sink's on, so what's the big deal?" Well, the water says you're wasting water. And I'm thinking, well, you're doing the same thing with this electricity when you leave. So make sure everything is off. So today when you get home, if you see something that's on, you're paying us. So if you want to conserve energy, turn it off. And you can read the meter every day and see how much you're actually saving by doing that. And if you have any questions, I have a business card up here and all that information out front. And thank you for having me.
Quick question. Maybe you said it already. You leave your house for 2 weeks. What should you leave your AC in?
I would say around 80 to 82. I mean, you don't want to basically get too hot, moldy, mildewy in there. You want to come take some of that moisture out, but you can probably set up to around 80, 82. It really depends on if your house is in the trees or not. I mean, my house is like, in this neighborhood back here, we have a bunch of trees, so the heat doesn't really get to it, but if you live out in a subdivision where there's no trees, it's going to start cycling on you. So 80, 82.
You just saved me money. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Robert. And our next and last speaker is going to be Gretchen.
Hi, as I said, I am the Director of Sustainability at UL. I work on a wide array of sustainability issues at UL, everything from reducing waste and recycling to working to reduce our energy usage. We're really excited we're partnering with LUS on a really cool project trying to analyze how much energy we're using in particular buildings on campus. So I work on a variety of things. Where I first became interested in sustainability, I think was probably when I was a child, and I don't know if I would say it's an interest in sustainability or it was sort of really pushed on me that you don't waste energy. So that's really where I guess I kind of first became interested in it. But really where, professionally where I became interested in sustainability was when I was a student at UL. I was the project manager for the Beausoleil, Louisiana solar home. It was a 2-year project. It was part of a international competition that was sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy. They brought 20 universities from around the world to compete in this project. It took us 2 years to design it, build it, raise the funds for it, and ultimately transport it to Washington, D.C. to compete against 19 other universities. It was, without a doubt, probably one of the coolest experiences of my entire life. It was just a fantastic project, and really it's the reason I have the job I do. It really started a lot of conversations about sustainability at the university from an administrative point of view, not just academically. So whenever the position opened, I ran to it, and I'm very blessed to be where I am. This was the house that we brought to Washington, D.C. It was a solar home. The objective of our house was we wanted it to be uniquely fit to our culture and our climate, responsive to the sort of weather conditions we have, also hurricanes. All of those things really played into it, but also our culture influenced the design of it heavily. But it was a solar home. That was the point of the project, the point of the competition. And we learned a whole lot about solar energy, a lot about building solar homes. This home was designed to be net zero. So the objective was to produce as much energy as it used. Anyone who's ever gone on a diet knows that you can't just, if you want to lose weight, you can't just work out, and you can't just watch your diet, like watch what you eat. Like it's both sides. So if you want to have a net zero home, you have to watch how much energy you use, and then have a renewable energy resource. For this one in particular, it was solar. We had a 7.8 kilowatt system, and it was comprised of total 39 panels. The bottom 2 rows of panels, you can kind of see on the house, were 215 watt panels, and then the top row was, we used bifacial panels. So they're actually solar cells underneath on the back side of it, and that was because we knew they would extend beyond the roof pitch, so we wanted the underside of the panels to show. It was a design feature. We had this was the first solar decathlon that they actually mandated that we were all grid tied. So there are some homes that they have a battery backup. So the energy that you produce goes to a battery. And there's hybrid systems to where you have both a battery and you're grid tied. This one was solely grid tied, and they did that for a lot of reasons. They saw it, really that's the trend that the solar industry was moving towards. It was also much more cost effective, and it's safer to have the kind of batteries that you need to really store the energy that you need to run a home, and to have that many of them all on the Washington National Mall. They saw it as a safety issue. So we were grid tied. We were the first solar decathlon to use it, but that's really where solar energy is moving. The interesting thing, I went back and I looked at some, the stats from this house, but then also where prices are now and how many installations have been put in the past year. And when we did this project, it was not a good time for solar energy. There was a silicon shortage, and that's what you use to make the panels. So the price of panels were actually quite high. Subsidies weren't very prevalent throughout the country. So our system, we couldn't qualify for tax credits. I don't believe they had them whenever we purchased them though. Our system was $35,000, and that was at $4.48 a watt. And it took 39 panels to produce 7.8 kilowatts. So these were, just try and remember, these were 200, and these were the highest efficiency panels too. These were 215 watt panels. And then later I'll show you what, I actually got a quote to put solar panels on my house, and how much it's changed since 2009. The growth has been substantial in Louisiana. In 2013, in Louisiana, in 2008, there were only 44 net metering installations. Now we have 7,517. So there's been an annual average growth of 220% since 2008. Louisiana, a few other interesting facts you may be interested in. Louisiana monthly has the highest national average of how much energy we use. We're at 1,273 kilowatt hours per month. That's the average usage per residential home. The national average is 909, so we're actually we're about 30% higher. There's three things that affect how much electricity a panel can produce. It's the amount of sunlight that's hitting the panel, the size of the panel, and the efficiency of the panel. So when you look at solar, or when you start trying to think about purchasing solar panels and you have to do it through a licensed contractor, they're going to be rated. Like I said, for Beausoleil, we used 215 watt and 205 watt panels. That's the performance test. That's the standard test conditions. And sort of like EPA mileage, like the factory will tell you that it's, you get 30 miles per gallon, but really you're only getting 27. It's sort of the same thing. You're not going to get exactly what they say you're going to get. So expect it to be lower. Every second, and this is why solar energy is really one of what could be the leading renewable energy resource, and why it's very safe compared and environmentally and for residential. It's very safe to use, but it's also so prevalent. Like the energy we need is out there. Every second, our sun produces enough energy to sustain the Earth's needs for 500,000 years. Solar panels, the first solar heated office building was in 1955, and the first solar cell was invented in 1883. So we've come a long way in a very, very short time. This is just showing you how much the price has come down for solar energy, and that's why you're seeing more and more of these residential systems being put in. In 53, that's just an astronomical, of course it's not reasonable to expect to produce energy at that price. But with subsidies, it's now come down to more about 70 cents per watt. Some of the benefits of going solar, it's very easy. There's lots of installers around here. You have a roof already. Most of them are in this area are built at the right pitch. In Louisiana, it's all based on what direction the sun is the azimuth and the angle of incidence. In Louisiana, we're at about 30-degree latitude, so that's about the pitch you would want for your roof, which is about 6 on 12, so it's a pretty common roof pitch in this area. But even if you're a little higher or a little lower, it still can be very effective. There's a very low payback period with the subsidies that exist right now. It's a secure source of energy, guaranteed performance, very environmentally friendly, and can save you thousands of dollars. This shows you the warmer colors indicate higher solar energy density, and that's based on solar radiation, sunlight, and insolation. As you can see, Louisiana is a prime spot for solar energy. It is one of the best renewable energy resources that we can use in this area. So how does it work? The photons from the sun hit the solar panels. This generates a direct current, DC. That has to be inverted. You use AC. So an inverter converts the DC to an alternating current, which it's then ready to be used by household appliances. This current then goes to the main switchboard of the building and is used to supply electricity to the building. And then it goes back to the grid. These are, if you produce extra, it goes to the grid. If you're not producing any, then you're pulling from the grid. So that's what they call net metering. If you're producing more energy during the day than you're actually using, it goes into the grid. At night, when your solar panels aren't using any energy, you're pulling from the grid. But it's seamless. You don't, and I can say that because I've been in the Beausoleil house and you can't tell which one you're pulling from. There's no flickering of the lights or anything like that. You can't tell if you're pulling from the solar panels or from the electrical grid.
Gotcha.
There's two typical types of grid-tied systems. The first one, and this was what we used for the Beau Soleil home because the technology just wasn't available yet, uses one inverter. We have to use two for the size of our system. So all of the solar panels are tied to one inverter, and that inverts the electricity from DC to AC so you can use it. What we're seeing more and more that's becoming prevalent is each solar panel has a microinverter. The good thing about these is if one half of your solar array is shaded because of a cloud, for instance, that doesn't decrease the efficiency of the entire solar array. So it's just, or if you have a leaf, or if one of them just happens to be dirty, it decreases the energy from that particular panel, but not the whole system. They also have really cool programs now that they're tied to the inverter, so you can see if you have one solar panel that's just not producing what the other ones are, then you can, it may be defected and you can use your warranty to have it replaced. There's lots of costs, lots of things to consider. The primary one right now, I want to talk about really quickly, make sure we can get this in. Currently, there's a 50% tax credit from the state and a 30%, there's a 50% tax rebate capped up to $12,500 and a 30% tax credit from federal that's set to expire in 2016. Currently, right now, where the bill stands, it's currently been approved by the House. It's pending Senate review. But until July 1st, 2015, that still stands. You get 50% back. The way most of the financing programs work right now, you never actually even pay it. After July 1st, 2015, and until July 1st, 2018, the credit will be, it will be less. They've done 3 different sort of scenarios of how they're going to price it out, but it will be the least of these 3. So you have until July 1st, 2015 to purchase, to get the permit. Installation can come after July 1st. To show you just really quickly, Louisiana Solar Solutions, who actually provided the solar panels for Beau Soleil, Louisiana solar home. I called him earlier in the week because I knew that it would be changing. So we've been talking about putting solar panels on our house. We figured that was the time to do it. And one day he was able to look at our home, see what the side, which side it needs to be on. It should be on the south side of your roof. We have too much shade on towards the front of the house because of a big tree, but he was able to figure out how many solar panels we would need to put on the roof with the space that we have. It's a 6.1 kilowatt. That'll drop our energy bills to about $15 to $10 a month average over the year. It's a $19,000 if you finance it. There's 0% financing. $19,000 for the whole system. With the rebates, with the credits, it'll be about $3,800. The return on investment is about 4.5 to 6 years. And if we would sell the house in the interim, or in the next few years, they estimate, it's somewhere on here, it approximately adds $3 to $5 per square foot of the home. So it does add value to your home. These are some really good resources if you want to find out more information about going solar. Louisiana Solar Solutions, Colin Bercier is just a great advocate of solar energy in Louisiana, and just a really good resource in just finding out more information about it. Another one is a book that was written by the professor who led Beau Soleil, Louisiana Solar Home. This book is just good in general for how to build an energy efficient home, and just the story of what it took to bring that project to fruition. Energy.gov has lots of resources, as does nrem.gov.
Great. Thanks, Gretchen. So let me check with Thetis here. We're quite a bit behind on time here. Should we do a couple questions, or should we move on to the next and final panel? Okay. Any questions?
I have one.
Yes.
I'm a happy Slimco customer, Mr. Mitchell. And I was wondering if you had any statistics or numbers on Slimco customers that were going the solar route. Would that be in your wheelhouse?
We have a guy at work that keeps track of the number of customers that have gone solar, and we do keep track of that. Corey Bordelon is in charge of that at work. I'll give you my business card, you can contact me, and I can either get with Corey or have Corey call you. I'll let you know how many customers we have, and it's a good bit.
Good, that's good news. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
Sure.
Any others? Yes.
Ms. Miles, how will we know LUS customers about the smart thermostat?
We will, once we deploy the program, we'll do an extensive marketing and customer education and just public relations campaign about it. We'll absolutely publicize it and advertise just so everyone can know.
And that will be at the end of the summer?
We're hoping for, thinking like late July, early August.
Okay.
But we have to get, to roll out a program like that, it just takes a little bit of time, but yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell, the turning off things and the power strips that don't draw energy when they're in use. I mean, at night my house is lit up, I have to admit. So by putting in those power strips, particularly electronics,
When you turn off like the TV, it's still drawing energy, and like your radio, anything you have in electronics is still drawing this phantom energy, so it just kind of knocks down some of that. And according to that website, it's like $30 a year savings, but it adds up for those power strips. But it doesn't,
Mike?
For Kayla Miles, I was wondering, right now I think the LUS bill is calculated with $6 as a flat fee and then a per kilowatt hour rate. Is there any chance that in the future there will be time variable pricing so that when electricity is expensive for you to deliver, you'll charge us more for it, so we'll cut our demand back?
You want to answer that?
Yep.
Well, we looked at, as part of the whole smart meter, smart grid project that we did several years ago and put in smart meters, we looked at the feasibility of doing what they call dynamic pricing, which one form of dynamic pricing is time of use rates. And we really got some pushback from customers that they weren't interested in it. We were getting, as a matter of fact, we thought it might just jeopardize the whole smart meter project because there were customers that had, and Simon was also involved in some of those discussions back then, and I think he was a big supporter of our smart meter program. But consequently, we just have not moved forward with that. You would think that the first customer class to sort of adopt that type of pricing might be commercial customers. And even from our commercial customers, we haven't had a lot of impetus to do that. Part of it is because when you think about Lafayette and its load, we don't have a lot of large commercial customers that we call industrial, that do a lot of, let's say,
Chemical plants.
well, chemical plants, but I was going to say like manufacturing processes that you could maybe pretty easily shift around your production schedules to where you could take a lot of your work offload. You think about what we have here. Our biggest customer is UL. We've got malls, hospitals, things like that. That really good load customers. They have they're using utilities all the time, but it's kind of hard for them to go off peak. So that's the reason why we really haven't adopted it yet. Number one, residential customers haven't shown an interest in it. Number two, we don't have a commercial base, industrial base that kind of would motivate that, I think. So, yeah.
Great, thanks. Well, thank you very much, and I think that'll wrap up our panel.
The preceding program was made possible in part with production assistance provided by AOC Community Media.